Russia and Japan are still fighting over these islands. The Kuril Islands, a chain of volcanic islands stretching between the Russian peninsula of Kamchatka and the Japanese island of Hokkaido, have been a subject of dispute between Russia and Japan for over a century. This long-standing conflict involves treaties, wars, and strategic maneuvers. To truly understand the roots and ramifications of this territorial dispute, it's essential to delve into the historical events that have shaped the current tensions. The story begins in the mid-19th century, an era characterized by expanding empires and colonial aspirations. Both Russia and Japan, emerging as regional powers, set their sights on the strategically located Kuril Islands. The initial attempt to resolve the jurisdictional ambiguities came with the Shimoda Treaty of 1855, where Russia and Japan agreed to divide influence in the region, setting a boundary that left the Kuril Islands under Japanese control, while Russia retained influence over the island of Sakhalin. However, the ink had barely dried before further negotiations altered the status quo. In the Treaty of St. Petersburg on 1875, Russia and Japan revisited their earlier agreement. Japan ceded all claims to Sakhalin Island to Russia in exchange for sovereignty over the entire Kuril archipelago. This exchange was emblematic of the period's fluid and often precarious international relations. However, the geopolitical landscape of East Asia changed dramatically in the early 20th century. The Russo-Japanese War, 1904 to 1905, marked a significant turning point. Japan's victory was a startling outcome that shifted regional power dynamics. In the aftermath, the Treaty of Portsmouth, signed on 1905, awarded the southern half of Sakhalin Island to Japan, further complicating the territorial claims in the region. But this was not the end of this story. The conclusion of the Second World War saw another dramatic shift in the fate of these contested islands. In the intense days of the war, the Soviet Union, seizing the opportunity presented by a weakened Japan, launched a full-scale invasion of the Kuril Islands and southern Sakhalin. By the time Japan signed its capitulation, Soviet forces had occupied both areas. Despite the 1945 Yalta Agreement, where the Allies had agreed on the Soviet claim to these territories in return for entering the Pacific War, Japan continued to claim the southern Kuril Islands. These islands, known in Japan as the Northern Territories, represent not only a lost territory, but a painful reminder of the country's wartime losses.